Hi, Phil Quinn. Welcome to another episode of Access to the Arts. We're in the Whitewater Community Television Studios, and today we're talking about the Richmond Community Orchestra, and we'll get a sneak peek about what's happening with the remodeling at the Richmond Art Museum. Welcome to another edition of Access to the Arts. We're in the studios of Whitewater Community Television, and my guest, R.J. Conrad. He's the musical director and conductor with the Richmond Community Orchestra, and Ray Ontko, who has been on the board as a treasurer and also cellist with the Richmond Community Orchestra. Thank you for being here. Ray, I want to start with you. Can you talk about the upcoming event we have called City Life, and talk generically about what's going to be happening at that event?
Sure. City Life is a celebration of the arts in our community. It happens every fall. We light the pond on fire. If you don't know what we mean by that, you'll have a chance to come see it. We have essentially baskets that are burning out in the pond and create a beautiful, magical backdrop for the event. There are a number of performing groups. The Richmond Community Orchestra will be playing. The Richmond Jazz Orchestra plays. This year we have the Earlham Jazz Orchestra and Amigos group playing with them, and the Wing Walkers provide some other musical entertainment. There will be artists painting various things during this event, perhaps inspired by what's going on around them. So it'll be an interactive thing, and there'll be activities for children. So all of these things happen from 5 until about 9 o'clock, 9:30 on Saturday, October the 7th at Glenn Miller Park, there in the area by the pond.
And I got to think this is the third or fourth year City Life's been going on?
I think this is our fourth or fifth year for it, but this is the third year, I think, with the pond fire at the Glenn Miller Park.
How important is it to have all of these organizations together for a single event? Sometimes, in many cases with a concert, it's one group playing for that concert, doing their event. But in these types of situations, another free event that's available to the community, lots of different artists and different organizations are together with a sort of a common goal to try to raise exposure and arts in the community?
Yeah. By having us work together out in the community, a number of things happen. First of all, it's another opportunity for us to get outside the concert hall and into the community to perform out in public for free. Well, we perform for free anyway as a community orchestra, but doing those things in front of the public, anybody can come, wear whatever you like, bring your chair, bring food, whatever you want to do. Come and enjoy the arts in our community and experience the range of artists and artistic activities in our community.
City Life, what time does it get started?
Starts at 5 o'clock,
okay.
And the community orchestra performs at 5, and the others follow us.
And then as soon as dusk hits, that's light the pond on fire, right. and that's just a really neat, magical event.
Sunset is at 7:12, so we'll set the fires to going starting about 6:30.
There you go.
Everything should be fully ablaze and fully in swing by 8 o'clock.
Ray, you have been a supporter in the community and helped build Richmond Community Orchestra to what it is, as many people have on the board. How do you explain what the Richmond Community Orchestra does?
Sure. So actually the orchestra had its organizational meeting 9 years ago this week.
Oh, wow.
All right. And by later that fall, we had our first rehearsal and had our first public performance. At that point, it was at the Friends Fellowship community. And then we started doing the following spring, free concerts, typically 3, 4, sometimes 5 per year, in the concert hall. In this case, Goddard Auditorium is our usual rehearsal and concert home, and out in the community in public events at the park. We've played at the Star Jeanette building, we've played at Elstro Plaza, and so part of our mission is to bring music for free to the community. Another part of it is to provide opportunities for musicians to have regular performance and practice. And so that's what we do every Monday night. We get together, we practice our music together, and under Jay's direction and leadership. And it's just a beautiful part for us of our week.
Jay, I want to bring you into the conversation at this point too, because one of the things that I noticed, went to the community orchestra concert that was in Elstro Plaza earlier this summer. I saw a number of generations being represented by that orchestra. Share that with us. That's a really unique thing about the RCO.
Well, that's one thing nice about it is that we have, I think right now our youngest is 13 and the oldest is 90.
Wow.
Yeah, and some of these, especially string players, the adults may not have played for 20, 30 years. And then others have been very accomplished and been part of professional orchestras, in Richmond, or we have one lady who played in Cleveland for years and then moved back to the area and is one of our string players. So it's nice to have that multi-generational thing. And because right now in this area, Richmond High School is one of the few programs that has a string program. And so we are, introducing strings to other kids in other communities. Plus, a lot of times we get kids from even out of the county, in particular Preble County in Ohio, to play the wind parts and things like that. So it's fun to get all those different generations in there.
It may be called the Richmond Community Orchestra, but I don't think all the members are from Richmond.
No, and we have some from the Greenville, Ohio area, various places in Ohio. We have some from Trotwood around the Dayton area. We have a lot of people come from Hagerstown. I think last spring we had a young lady coming from the Indianapolis area because she was eventually going to relocate in this area. Occasionally we get somebody who thinks they're going to join because that's the Richmond Community Orchestra, and I find out they're from Richmond, Virginia, and then I have to explain to them that, well, this is Indiana.
Yeah, well, that happens. How do people get involved if someone is interested in participating? Music's a passion, and if you learn it early on, it stays with you for life, or whenever you get that bug, it sort of sticks with you. How does someone become a member of the Richmond Community Orchestra?
Well, there's no audition process. It's if you're brave enough to come in, we'll take you. And we have people of various levels. We had a gentleman join us this fall who came to one of our concerts, and he talked to me afterwards and he mentioned, I played in high school. And I said, do you still have your violin? And he said, yes. And I said, bring it next fall, see what you can do. You may not play every note the first rehearsal, but do what you can, and as long as you're having fun, stay with us.
Yeah. Jay Conrad is with us, Ray Ontko as well. We're talking about the Richmond Community Orchestra. I have seen some people during concerts where I've seen the orchestra play. I also see them in the pit at Richmond Civic Theater. And I got to think that getting that extra practice time or doing a concert at Goddard Auditorium keeps those skills sharp for being able to volunteer for like Civic Theater.
Right.
In fact, the genesis of the community orchestra was in the orchestra pit at the Richmond Civic Theater. Several of us were standing around during the rare break that we get at Civic and realizing, it would be great if we didn't have to bring our skill level back up, our to performance level. Every time we want to play at Civic Theater, it'd be great if we had an opportunity to do this all year round. Not just as needed for a show. And so Amy Noe Dudas is one of the folks that was part of that initial conversation 9 years ago that resulted in the community orchestra.
I want to talk about how, if it's a volunteer organization, you still have expenses. How do people support the Richmond Community Orchestra? The concerts are usually free. How does this organization maintain itself? How does it exist, and what do you need from the community to help support?
First of all, we get very generous donations of a location from Earlham College. They provide a rehearsal space, and the performance venue at virtually no cost. So that's an important part of it. The other support we get is just from people, lots of small donations from people who attend our concerts, or people who like the idea of a community orchestra in our area. And those donations are supplemented by, this year, by the challenge match. We were able to participate this last year in the challenge match from the Wayne County Foundation. And those add up to just enough money to cover our need for music, to pay for the lighting expense down at the venue, and janitorial costs related to that. And support the Strings Initiative, and we can say a little bit about that as well.
Before we get to the Strings Initiative, and I definitely want to get there as part of this show, there is a concert coming up that, let's highlight the concert that's coming up at the end of October with the Richmond Community Orchestra. Let's invite some people to that show. Tell us what's going to be on the docket, what the performance schedule is.
Well, one thing about our concerts are they're very eclectic. One of the numbers on the concert is the final movement of a Mendelssohn symphony, and it's called the Reformation Symphony because this is the 500th anniversary of the Protestant Reformation. So we thought we might highlight that. And so that's a very classical work. We're also doing Watts Opera Doc. If you're a fan of Warner Brothers cartoons, that's where I got my musical training, I would say. And sometimes it's called Kill the Wabbit, but it's all Wagnerian excerpts, and it's not easy music. It's difficult music, but we have an Elmer Fudd and a Bugs Bunny who will be performing with us that day. So, so we do all kinds of crazy things like that. We have a medley of Star Trek themes, starting with the original series and some of the spin-offs, and it ends with the theme from the Star Trek movie, which happened to be directed by a Wayne County native who was Robert Wise.
Wow.
Yeah, so we do, and we have some various other light orchestral pieces in there, some overtures and things like that.
And when is the concert going to be?
It is the final Sunday in October, I believe October 29th, at 3:30 at Goddard Auditorium on the campus of Earlham College.
And it is free, and
It is free.
And families are welcome, especially if you're playing this kind of eclectic mix.
Yes, and that's kind of one reason we put some of this on, is it's kind of almost a Halloween type thing, because one of the pieces is the light cavalry overture that it sounds like the horses, the ba-da-dum, da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-bum, and things like that. Another piece is called the Bacchanal from Samson and Delilah, which is kind of like the dance of the seven veils and things like that. And so we encourage some of the members of the orchestra to kind of dress up for this. I've already had some members that say, can we wear our Star Trek uniforms? And I said, if you have one, this is one of the few times you're allowed to wear it in public, so go ahead,
Yeah.
So we will encourage members of the public to come and if they want to do a Star Trek theme, that's wonderful.
I love it. What's a website for people who can get some more information?
Our website is rcoindiana.org.
All right, and you can make donations there. You can find connections to their social media accounts, and of course the concert calendar. Ray Ontko and also Jay Conrad, thank you for, being so committed to doing something that's passionate in this community. They're doing some great stuff. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Access to the Arts. I'm Phil Quinn. We had the opportunity to go to Potterypalooza this past fall and got to go inside the Richmond Art Museum to see how the progress of that remodel is going. Let's check out that progress.
Hello, I'm Sean Dingworth, Executive Director of the Richmond Art Museum, and excited to show you what's happening at the Richmond Art Museum. We're currently closed for our Renewing a Masterpiece, and today we're going to give you just a little bit of a look of what's happening We're currently standing in one of the galleries right now. The galleries are going to be updated with climate control, new lighting, and a new wall surface. And all of this will enable the Richmond Art Museum to bring you some exciting exhibitions and programs to the community. Okay, we're standing in a second gallery, and this gallery is actually going to be devoted to artworks from our permanent collection by regional artists. We'll have two galleries devoted to the permanent collection. And as you can see, we're doing the same thing in here, where we'll be updating the wall system, the hanging system, all new museum lighting, and of course climate control in here as well. We'd like to remind people that even though the museum site is closed, that we're continuing with all of our great program that we do annually. We still have year-round art classes that we are offering. We're using a space downtown, the 912 IU East Gallery. But we're also pleased to announce that the Art Museum has leased a space at 915 East Main, right next to Ply. And this November, we'll be opening with our 119th annual exhibition, as well as our Holiday Art Mart. And that space will be open November through January. And then we will be moving into the renovated museum on February 1st. So please check out the richmondartmuseum.org, or you can call the office at 966-0256, and we can tell you all about the great programs that are continuing throughout the year.
Mark your calendar and plan to join us as we celebrate arts in the Glen. Once again, City Life will take place on October 7th from 5 to 9 near the pond in Glen Miller Park. It was created to be an evening showcasing Richmond's colorful art culture. City Life will have something for the entire family. Enjoy live musical performances from the Richmond Jazz Orchestra, the Richmond Community Orchestra, the Wing Walkers, and more. There'll be live art creation and hands-on art activities. You'll find hands-on activities from 5 to 7 p.m. from the Richmond Art Museum, along with an instrument petting zoo conducted by the Richmond High School Orchestra. Check out the cast of characters that you'll find, courtesy of the Richmond Civic Theater, and much more. The evening will wrap up with a pond fire at dusk. Thanks in part to a grant from the Indiana Arts Commission, activities and admission to City Life are free for the entire family. If you're looking for food and refreshments, Radford's and Ullery's Homemade Ice Cream will have edibles available for purchase. Please note that for the safety of community members, some roads in Glen Miller Park will be blocked on October 7th. City Life, Arts in the Glen, October 7th from 5 to 9 p.m.
That's going to wrap up another edition of Access to the Arts. Thanks again to Ray and Jay from the Richmond Community Orchestra, and also to Eric Marsh, who helped get some of that footage of the Richmond Art Museum and Potterypalooza. Don't forget, you can find out more about the concert information from the Community Orchestra and other arts information as we close out the show today. See you next time.